Hi again, darling. I really wanted to talk about birth from the baby's perspective. If you could just humour me for a minute, okay? Because we go into birth thinking it's our birth experience, and some of us really don't give much thought to the fact that it's actually the baby's birthday, yeah? It's not our birthday. We are merely the vessel for the baby to come out. And I'm going to use an analogy here for you to really empathise with how birth can feel to a baby, with two kinds of scenarios really, just to make it easier for us to understand. So scenario one is what's becoming the more mainstream way of giving birth, which is usually, okay, I go into hospital, I'm going to have my membrane swept to see if that will make the baby come along. If that doesn't work, I'm going to be induced with Pitocin, which will bring on really strong contractions. And then if that doesn't do it enough, I'm going to break the waters. And then my baby will be born, eventually in quite a forced way, or it will end up in a C-section. So the analogy I'm going to use is just being woken up. Okay, so imagine you're asleep in your bed, and that would be the baby asleep in your womb, minding its own business, having a lovely time. And then someone, literally, one of your loved ones as well, someone you trust the most, so call it your own mum, right, comes into the bedroom, and instead of waking you up gently by giving you a stroke on your face and saying your name and maybe opening the blinds or that kind of thing, comes in, rugby tackles you to your bed and grips you like this, because that's how the contractions will feel on the uterus of the baby if you've got Pitocin, because they are strong and furious. They're not normal surges, they're really quite violent ones. Does that, throws you to the floor with a whole mattress as well, and then starts suffocating you with a pillow because you can hardly catch your breath anymore because that's happening. May as well just throw some cold water on you as well, It's pretty violent, right? Pretty horrible way to be woken up. Why would you do that to somebody? You'd be like, dear God, I was just asleep and now I'm feeling attacked, rugby tackled, I can hardly breathe. Oh, and add into it, drugged. So then we'll just inject you with something so that you're completely out of it. So all this is happening and you feel like you're out of control, right? So that you don't even come to for quite a while. That's really violent and traumatic. And this is your baby's first ever experience earthside. This is your baby's first real experience meeting you. Is that how you want that to happen? I mean, thankfully, we think that babies can't remember that kind of thing, but it's going to be in its subconscious. And definitely physically, babies that come by epidurals, they are drugged, they cannot breastfeed, they can't bond well. Often there are a lot of mental health issues afterwards that epidurals have caused. They haven't been exposed to all the cocktail of very intelligent hormones that a natural labour would have subjected them to, so that they can breathe well, that their cognitive function is really on. They've just come from a deep coma-induced sleep to basically being violently removed from your body. So I know that sounds really dramatic, but that, to all intents and purposes, is what's happening to these babies if they're being forced out of your body early by inducing them, by drugging them, and either by forcing them out through a natural delivery too early, or by cutting them out of your body way too early. Who wants that? Who wants to be born like that? Would you like to be born like that? Or would you prefer scenario two, where you're just left to sleep until you're done and grow until you're finished, and then when you're ready to be born, you release a hormone in your mum that starts the whole beautiful cocktail of hormones surging through your body for oxytocin and the relaxin and all the other beautiful hormones to start naturally, physiologically giving birth to your baby and going through normal labour and normal surges, which are completely manageable for both you and baby, and that are really needed for the baby to wake up and know how to breathe and know how to function and all of that kind of thing. And labour invariably takes a while, it's not rushed. The baby knows it's happening, mummy knows it's happening. The baby's not being drugged, you know, you don't have to worry about that. No one is breaking waters or making the surges ridiculously unbearable. Nothing like that. It's all peaceful and calm, and you both get breaks, and you're not feeling stressed out, that you're releasing loads of adrenaline to both you and baby that then inhibits oxytocin. The oxytocin is flowing, and that when the baby's finally born, it's born into a room full of people that love and adore it. You know, it's not strangers, it's not surgical gloves holding the baby first, it's your own hands or your husband's or whoever you choose to have there, right? And it's gentle, low lighting and gentle voices and beautiful smells, and going straight to mummy's skin, and straight away being able to breastfeed and bond with you in such a gentle, calm, safe environment. Now, I for one know what I would choose, and to be perfectly honest, this is what made me completely rethink the way I wanted to birth my first. Because you may not know, I may have mentioned in previous videos, but I originally thought that I was going to have a C-section, you know, a planned elective one, because I was really at that stage scared about birth, because I thought it would be too painful, or maybe my body couldn't do it and things like that. Of course, that was utter nonsense, and you know, after lots of research and knowledge and preparing my mind, obviously my body could do that, no problem whatsoever, as 99% of us can. However, it was when I actually started thinking about things from my baby's point of view that the shift happened in my head. It wasn't when I started realizing my body could do it. It was because I was thinking about my baby first and my baby's needs. And I guess that's when you really become a mother. It's when you think about your baby more than yourself. And when I realized that I didn't want my baby to have a really violent, traumatic birth experience, and that I wanted it to have a blissful, peaceful one, and that meant that I had to get my shit together, that's when blissful birthing was conceptualized and born inside me, because I knew I had to share this message. So I really urge you to think about that in some depth. There's an amazing documentary as well that somebody called Gabor Mate, an amazing psychologist, has produced, and it's called In Utero. And that explains a lot about how our babies are so connected to us just when they're in the womb, with all the different hormonal states and all that kind of thing. But it also touches on the actual birth of the baby being such an intrinsic part of the rest of its life. Its first experience, earthside, like I said, it's huge. So don't just shrug it off and just, you know, think that it's no big deal. It's a big deal, and you are responsible for realizing how big a deal this is, and honoring this sovereign soul and this beautiful baby.